Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to another episode of the NTC podcast. This is Aaron Washington, your host. Glad you guys have taken the opportunity to listen to another recording. This afternoon, I have the pleasure of being joined by London Johnson. He is a point guard for the G League Ignite. This is his second season with the program. He's doing some great things over there. So if you haven't watched him play, be sure to check him out. He has some great guard skills, and he has a bright future in the basketball realm. So, hey, London, thanks for coming on, man. I'm really looking forward to this. Especially since you're a Georgia native, you're around the same area as I'm in right now. Figured it'd be good to have you on, man. So hope everything is well, and thanks for joining the pod.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So to get things going, my first question for you, London, is specifically about your Georgia background. So you are from Norcross, Georgia. You spent a lot of time there. You're from the Georgia area. I'm in the Atlanta area myself, and I mean, you know this all too well. Georgia is really a basketball hotbed. There's a lot of great talent coming out of the Georgia area. We saw Jaylen Brown a few years ago. Scoot Henderson, your former teammate, is from Georgia. A lot of other guys that come from this area. So you being from Norcross, I really wanted to ask you about your decision to join the G League Ignite. You had some other options going forward in your basketball career. You didn't have to go with the Ignite. I wanted to get your thoughts on specifically what led you to go with the Ignite option as opposed to something more traditional, like going the college route, standard college route, or going to the Overtime Elite. Overtime Elite is in Atlanta. It's in the Georgia area as well, and they have some great things going over there. I've interviewed a couple of guys on the pod before from OTE, Samto Surreal, Jaw Jackson, some really great basketball players. So just curious, what led you to sign with the Ignite? What were the big factors that kind of led you to go that route as opposed to something like OTE?
I felt like I weighed my options looking into college and looking at OTE, seeing how they're playing against some guys in college that may never play basketball again. They just here just to make it to college, and then OTE, you're just playing against other high school guys. I felt like going to the G League, I'm playing against pros that have played in the NBA before that come down to teach me different tricks and keys I could use to get to the next level. And then as I'm playing against them every day in practice, I'm getting better. And then I'm playing in the game, I'm getting better. So I feel like it had the best translation to get to the NBA. That's why mainly I chose G League Ignite.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you're really in an environment where it's cutthroat, it's super competitive. I had Tyler, your teammate, on not too long ago, and he said the same thing about the Ignite. Like it's super competitive. Practices, you guys are getting top-notch coaching, top-notch competition against grown men who are fighting for a spot in the NBA. So that really kind of says a lot about you and your commitment to just get better. Like it's not easy to go against guys that are that polished, that good, guys that have been in the league already. Exactly. So I'm sure that was a big challenge for you. Have you ever been to OTE? I actually wanted to ask you that question as well. Have you ever had a chance to check out a game or see what they got going over there?
When I was weighing my options, I actually took a visit over there. I've never been to a game, but they had like a dunk night or dunk show or something like that over there. So I got to see a little about how like the fans get to interact with some of the players, which I find pretty cool. How they have such a big media platform and a bunch of fans that come out and support them as well.
Yep, 100%, man. They have a great following over there. But obviously, your route has worked out pretty well for you. You've had a great run in the G League so far. I next wanted to ask you about your former teammate, Scoot Henderson, who was with the Ignite last season. He got drafted by the Blazers. He's currently in the NBA. I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on him and really the experience of playing with him. You've got a chance to spend some time with him. He's in the league. He's in a position to where you hope to be very soon. So just wanted to see what it was like playing with Scoot, a guy that was a number 3 pick in the NBA draft, a crazy good talent, just had a great run coming from Marietta all the way through G League, now with the NBA. What was it like kind of playing with him? And did you pick up anything, learn anything kind of playing with a guy that is now in the NBA?
I remember when I first moved to Atlanta, Georgia, when I didn't have an AAU team really yet, and the Game Elite squad had like reached out, so I was playing with like the younger team, and then the older team I reached out, they said they need some extra players, and I had played up that one game, and then Scoot was on that team, but I knew nothing about Scoot, and like he was just coming down windmilling and dunking on people. I'm like, who is this guy? But then now to look down a year later, I'm seeing him on G League Ignite, and I had seen him when he did the first year, and I just thought that following the same path, I could do the same thing. And then as I started to play with him, it was just motivational seeing him go out there and go to work So then me coming off the bench, I felt like I had to do the same thing.
For sure. Did you get signs even back then, playing with him in practice, when you first had the chance to become teammates with him? Did you have a sense that he was going to be a primetime NBA prospect that went top 5, top 10 in the draft?
I never really thought about players like that getting to the NBA, really. I just thought, like, wow, now, like, yeah, he's like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure it was early on. You can tell he was nice.
Yeah,
He's
for
just
sure.
super explosive, man. So that's really cool to hear that background about his story and yours as well. So now we kind of want to transition to your current experience with the Ignite. As I mentioned before, this is your second season, and you now have the opportunity to play with some guys, some point guards on the roster that have a lot of experience.
Yeah.
Norris Cole being one, Gabe York being another one. These are guys that, I mean, they're great point guards. They're great veteran presence guys to have on that team. So what would you say about the experience of playing with veterans? So now moving on from Scoot, a younger guy that's about your age, now to guys that are quite a bit older and have seen a lot and done a lot in the NBA. What has it been like spending some time in the film room with them, spending practices with them? What have you been able to learn from those veteran presences on the team so far through your time with the Ignite?
I feel like that was one of the main reasons I committed to Ignite. Just seeing how the vets have been to the next level, and they have so much knowledge and they're intelligent. They could pass it on to me. It's like, so guys like Norris and Gabe, like, even when they're not trying to teach me, I'm learning by example, seeing what they're doing on the court, seeing little things they do, like, oh, they did that, okay, let me see what I can do to get the same results, things like that.
I'm sure they've been able to kind of give you some tips as far as how to prep and train yourself as you get ready for the next level of basketball. Was it a real big adjustment for you being around guys like that? Did you have to really change some of your habits and routines as far as like getting ready, prepping, being in the film room, things like that? Was that a big adjustment for you?
I feel like different from college and like OTE, like they're older guys, so they're always gonna be ready. So it ain't no time to be lacking or not be ready. So you come in the film always on P's and Q's. Make sure you get your sleep the night before, so you're not falling asleep in film. Coming to practice, you're already stretched out. You came early, you lose. So when practice starts, you're already ready to go. So seeing guys like that come in early, just leading by example, showing me what I should be doing.
Feel that, man. That's great. With Norris specifically, he's a guy that really fascinates me because he got to play with some amazing guys. LeBron James, D Wade. I'm sure you can see behind me. I got my D Wade jersey, so he's definitely a guy that's influenced me as far as my basketball fandom. Is he able to kind of share any stories with you, experiences about playing with those guys and just spending some time around some of the best players to ever touch a basketball?
Yeah, he told me a couple funny stories back when he played with the Heat. One that sticks out to me is coach. I think he had did something, and then coach was like, "Nah, we don't need you to do that. We just need you to do this, this, and this." And then he playing, and he was like, "All right, I'll just do that." And that's all he did. He started getting started minutes and started playing with LeBron and win the championship and etc.
That's dope, man. Yeah, playing next to a guy like him, I'm sure that's an amazing experience that anybody would love to have. Seems like a really cool guy for sure to spend time around. So bringing it back to you, you've started 14 of the 30 games you played so far this season, and you started 8 of 19 games last season for the G League Ignite. So wanted to get your perspective on that shifting role. You don't start every game, but you also don't come off the bench every game. So what are some of the biggest challenges you face when with your role that changes? Sometimes you're starting, sometimes you're not. Things can fluctuate, your minutes can fluctuate. What have you been able to learn just from going back and forth between the different roles? And what would you say you've had to kind of adjust as amount of minutes you play and the role you play can fluctuate from game to game?
I feel like Coach Hart and the coaching staff does a good job with that because they know next year I'm more than likely not going to be a starting point guard in the league. So I feel like as much as it is playing to learn, to get better, it also is to watch and see different things out there on the court. So he's bringing me off the bench so I get that off the bench experience and also so I could watch and learn as well. So coming off the bench and then starting, it's just up and down the berries. And I feel like it's just a good adjustment.
Oh, yeah. And those two guys we just talked about with Gabe and Norris, I mean, they spend a lot of time coming off the bench as point guards as well. So I'm sure it's been really beneficial having those guys in your ear telling you about what you need to focus on. As if you come off the bench, you're not going to have the same leeway as if you are a starting point guard. Let's say you are a Trae Young or a Luka, and you can just dominate the ball and have all these touches and all these shots and things like that. What are some of the things that they've told you, they've taught you, the coaches have taught you about being a backup point guard? What is your specific role? What do you need to focus on when you're only playing 20 to 25 minutes per game as opposed to 35, 40, and playing a lot more minutes there?
I feel like the main thing that the coaches preach to me is no turnovers in defense. I feel like if they said if you could do that, then you could earn minutes. So I'm mainly working on my defense, getting stops, staying in front of the ball, staying disciplined, not going out and reaching, just staying in front of the man in the basket. Then also making the winning plays, so not turn the ball over, trying to do something extra, just make the easy play, simple play that's going to cause the team to get a win.
Absolutely, man. And another part of just being a winning basketball player is getting your teammates involved. You're a point guard. That's one of your big roles on the court. That's what people depend on you to do, is be a quarterback, put everybody in the right spots and give them the ball where they're most comfortable. I looked at your assists per game average for this season, and it's up from 3.1 last season to actually just shy of 5 assists right now. So that's definitely taken an increase, and it really caught my eye. It also seems like you're just kind of seeing the floor better. And I'm
Yeah.
sure that comes with experience, and the game slows down for you. You're more comfortable in this setting, playing with guys that are faster and stronger, and just being around that. So just wanted to see what you would say your biggest reasons are for that jump. What have you been able to kind of pick up, and what have you learned that have contributed to you just being a better point guard, being able to get your teammates involved, share the rock, and like you said, just take care of the ball and just be a low turnover guy?
Yeah, I feel like just making the winning plays, then also having teammates that believe in me. So getting the rebound, they're giving me the ball, so I can give them back the ball to put them in position to be successful. Then I feel like since last year to this year, the game has slowed down to me. So when I've been playing last year, it's kind of fast. I'm getting the ball out of my hands this year. I'm actually putting people in position to get a bucket. So I feel like that's where made that jump.
Yeah, man, that makes a lot of sense. And I'm sure it's not easy kind of striking that balance, because for you, it's great to be a passer, but I'm sure every basketball player at one time or another, they want to put the ball in the bucket. They
For
want to
sure.
be a scorer. They want to get their own. So for you, is that something that coming up, were you just naturally a guy that shares the rock? Were you scoring focused guy? What was your kind of background in that? And, how has your game kind of evolved, as you kind of worked your way up to where you are now?
I feel like growing up, I feel like I was pass first, and I feel like that has its ups and downs. I grew up playing AAU where the coaches would sit me on the bench for not shooting the ball. So I feel like made it to the next level. I feel like it was kind of easier. I feel like it's easier to be able to be a pass first, and you got to learn to shoot. Then you're overshooting, and you got to learn how to pass. So I feel like that was in my advantage. But then coming out here, I feel like the shots that you pass up, it may be the best shot you get. So I'm learning to take those opportunities and shoot the ball more, but also make the right read and make the right pass as well.
Most definitely, man. You're definitely striking a great balance right now, and I'm sure that's going to help you a ton as you work your way to the next level. So, I mean, you're aware of this. You're not the biggest guy on the court, about 6'3", and in the NBA right now, as you kind of watch how the league is trending, you see a lot of guys that are bigger guards around the NBA. You see guys like Kate Cunningham, you see DeJounte Murray, you see Luka, you see these guys that are like wing size now, kind of leading the charge and being the lead ball handlers for their team. Wanted to see what you've kind of been working on as you work your way through the G League to kind of just get adjusted to that reality of the NBA, to where there's going to be guys that have a lot of size, and those are guys you're going to have to guard.
Yeah.
It's not like just 6'7" guys are only wings and power forwards right now. They are guys that are in the same position as you. So how do you think it is going to work best for you as far as your training regimen and just getting ready to face guys like that do have a good amount of size in the NBA as guards?
I feel like what one thing that has been good doing with me is getting me in the weight room. I feel like since last year I put on 17 pounds and it's increasing as we go on each day.
Mhm.
So I feel like I still can get my strength, but I'm also fast. So I can use my quick first step and speed to my advantage versus guys like Luca who have slower but more strength against me.
Do you have like do you feel like you're at your target weight and right now as far as where you want to be? Because I've heard other players say that they put on weight, but there's a certain limit to where if they get past that point, they're not going to have that same quickness or
Yeah,
explosiveness. Just like you said, I
yeah,
think it was Curry a few years ago where he got to a weight, I think it was like 200 or 205, and he felt like he lost a step when he got to that weight, so he had to go back down. For you, are you still kind of trying to build up that weight, or are you at a point where you're just maintaining right now?
Yeah, I feel like that happened this summer where I had got up too much, where I felt like stiff and couldn't move as much as I wanted to. But I feel like what they've done good is implementing a lot of agility right after we lift. So after I'm lift, I'm getting bigger, but I'm still maintaining that quickness and speed. So really, what they're doing is getting me as much weight as feels comfortable, and then maintaining that weight, and then working from there.
Good stuff, man. It's all about repetition and just consistency. I'm in the same position. I've been in the gym. I actually just left the gym like a couple hours before we went on. So just being there consistently, like the gains will show off, man. And like you said, 17 pounds, that's really strong. So it shows you're putting in the work for sure on that end. So to wrap this up, man, there's really just one other question I want to ask you, and it kind of boils down to the next level of the NBA game once again. And I think I asked Tyler something along these lines. I'm really curious to see who you keep an eye on in the NBA, who you are kind of trying to model your game after, who are some of your biggest motivators, influencers. For him, it's different. I'm sure it's a little different because he's a 6'10" guy. He's a front court guy. You're a back court guy. So for you, who do you like to watch film of? Who inspires you? Who have you kind of taken parts of their game and try to incorporate it into your own game?
Really, I like to watch guys that make winning plays and that are also point guards but can score the ball. So I like watching guys like Chris Paul. He gets to the mini very well, but also very good off the pick and roll, makes the winning plays and good dimes. He's also a great defender as well. Sometimes he may flop a little bit just to get the winning play, but they kind of implemented that flopping rule. I saw Chris Paul got called for it, I think, yesterday for flopping against PJ Washington. But I still try to focus on watching guys make the winning plays, and sometimes I watch them even when they don't have the ball, see what they're doing, like on defense on the help side or on offense, moving without the ball or setting off ball screens. Then also guys who sometimes more score the ball, so I can look at different spots on the court they get to get buckets. Like sometimes I know when Chris Paul and Devin Booker are on the same team, I'll watch both of them because I like the way Devin Booker gets his spot in the midi and raises up and knocks it down, but also how he moves it out the ball and how Chris Paul and him play together.
Those are great guys to look after. And Chris Paul, I mean, what better guy to look at? I mean, he's a starting guard, but he has so much of those skills that you're going to need if you're coming off the bench. You have a lower usage and things like that. So that's phenomenal, man. One last thing I want to get your thoughts on, just the prep, just getting ready for that, man. I mean, you're second year at Ignite, and there's some big things coming your way in the not too distant future. What are some of your big goals that you're trying to knock out here as you kind of finish your time with the Ignite and coming through this program? What do you want to achieve here before your time is out and you're moving on to the next stage of your career?
Really, individually and as a team, I want to stay consistent. So as we having like mental lapses where we'll play 38 minutes strong or 30 minutes strong. We need to get the full 48 minutes strong. And then I feel like individually just putting on more weight as well. So just putting on more weight and playing consistent is the two main things.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's good for sure. So I think that's about all I have for you, London. I want to thank you for coming on this pod. It's been a great time. If you're ever in the Georgia area, ATL, hit me up. Love to get a run in or something like that. Would be cool, man. So wish you the best the rest of this season and the rest of your basketball journeys. Once again, it's been a pleasure, man. So thanks for taking the time.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Absolutely. So listeners, if you are checking out more content, you want to see more things like this, interviews with great guys like London, Tyler, guys from OTE, be sure to check out NoTradeClause.com. No Trade Clause, all one word, on Instagram. On Twitter, it's going to be NoTrade_clause over there. You can find all of our great content, interviews, cap sheets, things like that. We have it for you. So thanks everybody again for the time, and we hope to see you on the next installment of NTC. Take care.